Hello, I'm Leasure, and this is the Leasure Sports Podcast. This week, kicking off the podcast this week with writing the news, is NFL news. The preseason, first week of the preseason officially started this week, and one of the big stories was the Miami Dolphins. Ryan Tannehill will be getting season-ending knee surgery after it was speculated. The reason Jay Cutler was signed was probably going to be to replace him, but it was really expected, and I'm not surprised by it. Ryan Tannehill's been dealing with knee injuries since the hit he took last season against Calais Campbell, which put him out for the rest of the regular season, and he didn't start the postseason game that the Dolphins had. That was Matt Moore. So, well, it's unfortunate for him, but they're going to have to move forward with Jay Cutler as a quarterback. One of the other biggest news stories this week was Ezekiel Elliott has been suspended 6 games due to the domestic violent allegations he had. Despite never getting charged officially by the legally, but he will be appealing that decision. So I think the NFL, the reason they suspended him 6 games despite never getting charged, was because the NFL are trying to crack down on these um, domestic violence cases that have been going on, and they kind of messed it up with Ray Rice and Josh Brown how they handled it initially. So they want to make sure that they don't do that again. I personally think that his this I mean, if anybody wants in the comment section wants to elaborate a little bit more, but I don't see like there's enough evidence. There's not that much evidence to garner a suspension. But I feel like there's a good chance I don't think he's going to get suspended. He'll get the whole decision reversed, but I do feel like there's a good chance he could get it reversed to three to cut it in half. But that's big for the Arizona Cardinals because even if it got cut to 3 games, like I think it might, he's still first Cardinal home game is week 3, and that's against the Cowboys. So that's going to be a huge loss for the Cowboys. So it's unfortunate for the Cowboys. We'll see where it goes forward. If he gets it appealed, if he gets it reversed, if he gets it cut in half, if he gets a couple games off the suspension. But we'll see what happens there. This news made me laugh a little bit. Robert Arroyo, the kicker that was drafted controversially in the second round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, was released and making that probably one of the worst draft picks in NFL history. Joe Flacco has announced that he will not be playing in the preseason, but he will be ready for the season opener as he's been dealing with some injuries. There was a big trade that happened. The same day Ezekiel Elliott was suspended, Sammy Watkins was traded to the Rams. From the Buffalo Bills. The Bills were able to acquire E.J. Gaines and a second and sixth round pick from him. The Buffalo Bills were able to find a replacement for him as they got Jordan Matthews from the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's a good deal for the Rams and the Bills. The Rams were able to get a good receiver to get another weapon for Jared Goff. I mean, I think the big thing for Watkins now is can he stay healthy? So if he can stay healthy, he can be a vital weapon for the team for the LA Rams to make them a little bit more competitive this year. So we'll see how it helps them out. Cardinals played their second preseason game last night. They did have their starters in. I watched 2 games last night, the Cardinals Raiders game and the Cowboys Rams game. And I was watching the Cowboys Rams game with my uncle, who's a big Cowboys fan, and he was really he was kind of upset when the starters were playing, and I was kind of a little bit surprised too. This is the first week of preseason, and I'm surprised they didn't play at least one drive. Because usually, with starters in preseason, you put them in one for the first week of the preseason. You have them play one game or one drive usually. Second game, you play a couple or 1 quarter or equivalent to 1 quarter of drives. The third game is the really important one where your starters play a whole half usually, and then the fourth game, your starters don't play. Usually your backups don't play. It's usually third or fourth stringers that are trying to make the team. So, but Cardinals Carson Palmer looked very good. Had one drive, got them into the end zone for a touchdown pass to Britton Golden. After Blaine Gabbert was really impressive, Drew Stanton played, and he kind of reaffirmed his backup position. He went 11 of 15 for 112 yards and a touchdown. The Cardinals were able to beat the Raiders 20-10. Blaine Gabbert looked okay, but I think Drew Stanton's going to be the backup. But maybe Blaine Gabbert. I mean, maybe the Cardinals will decide this year to have 3 quarterbacks in the roster, and I think he would be a decent. He'd be a decent backup, but it would be good. Like I said, I haven't really been. I don't really have any intention in talking about the Kaepernick thing, but it came up again because last night it was reported that Marshawn Lynch sat during the national anthem, which is true because there was a photo of him sitting during the national anthem. From what I've read, Jack Del Rio said that he's been doing this all his career, so maybe it just got noticed because Kaepernick's been doing it. So, but it is what it is. I'm not going to talk about it just because of how controversial the sitting during the national anthems become. I don't. Whatever. He has that right to do it. But it is what it is. So moving on to Arizona Diamondbacks. Usually kick off the podcast talking about the Diamondbacks, but I decided to talk about the NFL news this week. Diamondbacks have been struggling lately. They were able to win last night and end a 3-game losing streak, but the wild card gap's really been closing. The Arizona Diamondbacks are tied as of right now, as I'm recording this podcast. They're tied with the Colorado Rockies for the top wild card spot, and both the Cubs and the Cardinals, they're tied for the NL Central, but they're also only 4.5 games back of the wild card. So both the NL Centrals, that's becoming a close race between the Brewers, the Cardinals, and the Cubs. But that wild card gap's really closing, and the Diamondbacks, they can't be doing this. They can't be doing losing streaks right now. And they had a disappointing Dodgers series, and Archie. I'll talk about Archie Bradley in a minute, but really, I feel like the Diamondbacks could have won that series. And to be honest, they could have probably maybe swept that series. They won a big first game. It was won a close game, 6-3, after Jake Lamb hit a grand slam in the 7th inning, big critical hit. And this is where the Diamondbacks, I think they need to. A lot of their big hits recently have been home runs. They've been struggling with runners in scoring position. Last night, they were able to do it. They were able to score with runners in scoring position. JD Martinez got a double. Brandon Drury's been struggling lately, got a big hit. An error happened. Goldie was running in from third, and then Javier Baez threw it over the catcher, and Goldschmidt was able to score. But the Diamondbacks, they gotta improve with runners in scoring position. So I'll talk about the Cubs game in a minute as well. But Diamondbacks, not only that, I think Torey Lovullo's this has been one of my biggest pet peeves with Torey Lovullo this season, is that he's really had a problem with deciding when to keep his starter in or when to take him out. It seems like he always either takes him out too early or he keeps him in too long. Case in point, second game of the series, Zach Greinke had a 3-2 lead. There was a runner on third. It was a lefty-righty situation. Jock Peterson, he put him in to face Jock Peterson. In that situation, I probably would have brought in a lefty because Zach Greinke was up over 90 pitches, but Jock Peterson was swinging really hard. Greinke pitched to him, and he did not. He got a double off him and was able to tie the game. I would have pulled Zach Greinke right after he gave up the lead. Nope. Torey Lovullo decided to keep him in despite almost being up towards 100 pitches. And Zach Greinke against Yasiel Puig, he was able to get a single score on the run. Dodgers were able to take a 3-2 lead. They ended up winning that game. And then the next night, Anthony Banda, who it was his birthday on Thursday too, he had a really bad first inning. Had a 35 pitch first inning, not great. They were down 3-0. But the Diamondbacks were able to get a couple big hits and were able to tie that game, or not tie the game, but get within 1 run. And he was really settling down at that point. He had 4 innings. He had retired. Going into the 4th inning, he retired 7 straight He had retired 7 straight batters, and his pitch count was in a much better shape at 69 pitches. But there was 2 runners on. Brandon Drury, who was struggling. Torey Lovullo decided to pull Anthony Banda, and They were able to, and Drury, with runners in first and second, Drury struck out, and they were not able to come. They were not able to come back. They ended up losing that game 8-6. So Torey Laval has got to really improve on some situations when either pull a starter or when to uh, keep him in, or either when to pull a starter when he's pitching too long, or if deciding to keep in a pitcher for a little bit more. So we'll see what happens there. Um, Going forward in the season, he made another move against the Cubs on Friday when he kept, after the Diamondbacks were able to get within 1 run. It put Taijuan Walker, who was up over 100 pitches. He gave up a home run, the first batter he faced, and then he gave up another home run. Again, I really would have pulled him after. I would have pulled. He shouldn't even been pitching in the sixth inning, but he did. After the home run, I definitely would have pulled him there if I decided to keep him in, but that didn't happen. So, and that was a big cost because Goldschmidt was able to get a home run in that inning. So let's say you put in Jorge De La Rosa came in and he got 3 outs. He got 3 outs. Let's say you bring Jorge De La Rosa in, you keep him in. You would have been, or you put him in. Let's say he gets 3 outs. Goldschmidt hits that home run. You tied the game. So they were able to rebound last night. Patrick Corbin, after last time against the Cubs, he got just blown out. He was able to rebound and get a really big win. Probably pitched the best game he's pitched as an Arizona Diamondback, not only this season but as a Diamondback just in general. Diamondbacks were able to win 6-2. This is a decision it was kind of weird. They brought Fernando Rodney in. He gave up 2 runs. They pulled him. There was runners on first, I believe first and third, and David Hernandez came in. Ben Zobrist had a 3-2 count, or it was 2 outs, 3-2 count. David Hernandez threw a pitch that looked like it was clearly a ball. They called a strike 3, which was a horrible call, but the Diamondbacks got the call anyway. And the Diamondbacks were a game back of the Rockies for the top wild card spot. On Saturday, the Rockies lost, and because the Diamondbacks won, they're tied for the wild card spot. So I think wild card teams at this pace right now, both the 1-2, it's going to be till the last couple weeks of when the which teams are going to be the wild card teams. It's going to be a close race for the rest of the season. So we'll see what happens there. There was some other news in Major League Baseball yesterday and throughout the week. Neil Walker was traded to the Mets, was traded to the Milwaukee Brewers as they're trying to get a big bat to get into the postseason as they've been struggling lately. Bryce Harper last night, running into first, suffered a really awkward knee injury that looked, and it had to be helped off the field. It looked like he blew his knee out. But this morning, as I'm recording this, it was reported that it was just a bruised knee. There was no significant structural or ligament damage, so he was able to. But he is out indefinitely. But that's a huge break the Washington Nationals catches. Nationals trying to get over the postseason hump, trying to win a series and get into the World Series. They got a huge lead over the NL East, so that's fortunate for them that he doesn't have a major injury. So. Giancarlo Stanton's been hitting really well. Rockies and the Marlins are playing right now, but he's up to 42 home runs. My uncle, who's a Yankee fan as well, Aaron Judge hasn't really been that great in the second half. It's weird. Stanton's been hitting very well. Despite, I feel like the home run derby, anybody who competes in it usually screws up their swing. And it happened with Judge. Stanton, not been the case. He's been continuously hitting. Some other news going on. Ryan Howard, longtime Philly, it was released, I think, earlier in the season. He signed a minor league deal with the Rockies, so we'll see what happens there. Maybe, some depth signing. I mean, I don't expect Ryan Howard to do much. And then one of the biggest news, the Marlins were officially sold to Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter-led investment group trying to buy the Marlins. They were able to sell them for $1.2 billion. And so that's a good deal for Derek Jeter's been wanting to be an owner and to run a team. He doesn't want to stay away from the game so I think this is a good deal for Jeter and the city of Miami. I saw a report that Michael Jordan was among the investors, so you got some big names under that group. So good for the Marlins. That's it for the podcast this week. Thanks everybody for watching. Probably I will probably do one more podcast before doing my NFL season predictions, and I think from during the NFL season, it still will be my podcast, but I also will you also see my NFL like week predictions, recaps of the previous week, and so forth. So we'll see what happens there. Um, Follow me on Twitter at BaileyLeasure96. If you like the content on my channel, please subscribe and comment if you agree or disagree with my views. What do you think about Marshawn Lynch kneeling? What do you think? How are the Dolphins going to be able to do better with Jay Cutler? Ezekiel Elliott, do you think his suspension will get reduced or reversed? What do you think the Diamondbacks need to do to keep it up in the wild card race? So we'll see what happens there. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you all later.